If you're trying to make candles and you're deciding on which wax to use, this video is for you. Today we're going to be talking all about soy wax and what you need to know. This is going to be one of the first videos of a series where I explain to you each and every single thing you need to know about the candle making process with the specific products that you need to use. If you have something specific that you want me to focus on, please let me know in the comments below so I can make a video for you. And for those of you who have been wondering where I get my candle making supplies from, I have created a candle making suppliers list that is available right now at serenearomas.com. It has all the suppliers that I have personally bought any products from to make my candles, their specialties, whether they provide small or big quantities for you to purchase in bulk, if they provide shipping internationally, and everything else you would need for candle making. So if you want to purchase that, make sure to tap into my website, serenearomas.com, and get your candle making suppliers list. Now let's get into the video. So what is soy wax specifically? This is gonna be a wax that is derived from soybeans. That means it is 100% natural unless you add some other things to it. Renewable, meaning that it can be made again as long as you plant those soybeans. Biodegradable, meaning that it can easily be broken down as long as you follow the right instructions on how to clean out your candle jars or your candle making supplies. It is also a wax that is clean burning, meaning there are no toxins being released into the air when you use it. With that said, it is very important to note that soy wax comes in different forms and can be used to make different types of candles. Typically, soy wax is used for container candles, but there are companies that sell different types of soy wax that can be used for pillar candles. Those type of waxes are typically gonna have things added onto them just so that they can better work for pillar candles. That's because when you have a pillar candle specifically, you want that candle to be able to stand alone without melting within a room where the temperature is a little bit higher. So because of that, companies typically add things to the candle wax that's going to be used for the pillar candles. But of course, you can also use soy wax to make wax melts if that's what you're looking for as well. And as I mentioned before, they do come in different forms, meaning that the wax will come either as little balls or flakes or a block of wax. This doesn't really make a difference in anything other than how fast your candle wax melts. If you're melting flakes of wax compared to a big brick of wax, the brick is going to take a little bit longer just because the temperature will need to spread out more evenly throughout a big piece of wax. So if you're making candles and you're using the double boiler method, I definitely recommend that you get wax in flake form or the little beads. This is gonna make your life so much easier as compared to the big brick of wax. The next thing you're gonna need to know about soy wax is the melting temperature. And I want you to know that this is going to vary tremendously across each and every single company. Some companies add things onto their soy wax so that the crumbling, the frosting, the sinkholes don't happen as often, while other companies don't do that at all. However, the basic information that you need to know is that soy wax typically melts at 100 degrees Fahrenheit, but should not be melted higher than 200 degrees Fahrenheit. If you go past that temperature, you're gonna notice things like discoloration with your candle wax, which we want to avoid. What I recommend is that you stick to melting your wax to no more than 185 degrees Fahrenheit. This is going to allow you to melt your wax at the perfect temperature and avoid any mistakes that can come with melting your wax at higher temperatures. And similar to the melting temperature, we also have the pouring temperature. Once again, this is going to vary for each and every single type of soy wax from each and every single company that you purchased your wax from. But typically, the range for the pouring temperature will be 120 degrees up to 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, another temperature that you'll need to focus on when you're making scented candles specifically will be the temperature you add your fragrance into your soy wax. This is something else that's going to vary across each and every single company that you buy your fragrance oils from. And I know that can be extremely frustrating, but each and every single company that you buy your fragrance oils from should have information about the temperature that you're gonna add the fragrance oil into your wax. Your main focus should be to not add your fragrance into your wax at the flash point, meaning the temperature where the oil will burn completely off and you will not be able to smell it when the candle is burning. For those of you that want to be extra safe, I recommend that you add your fragrance oils into your soy wax at temperatures that are a little bit lower than 180 degrees Fahrenheit. And I say this because a lot of companies, when they make their fragrance oils, candles, they have a higher flash point around 185 degrees Fahrenheit and up. So 180 degrees Fahrenheit is a little bit safer for anybody making scented candles. First, if you're making scented candles, you're also going to need to focus on the fragrance load that you're going to be adding into your soy wax. That's going to be around 6% and up to 12%. The company that you buy your soy wax from will tell you what the fragrance load is for that specific soy wax. Once you make your candles, you're going to have to let them cure. This is going to be a time frame where you let the candles and the fragrance oil merge completely with each other so that when your candle is burning, you smell it even more. For soy wax, this time frame is going to be anywhere from 7 days to 14 days. What I typically do for my candles is let them cure for 2 weeks away from high temperatures, away from any light, so that nothing disturbs the curing process and the candles can smell even better once they're being burnt. After adding fragrance onto your candles, you might want to add color. And for that, I want you to be extra careful just because when you add color, the candle is affected completely. I mean, the time frame that it burns for, the appearance of the candle, and how the wicks burn. When I add color onto my soy wax candles, I tend to use liquid dye just because I feel like it's been the one that's worked the best and it doesn't affect my candles that much. If you're working with things like mica powder, you'll notice that your candle flames are not going to be as strong because mica powder is something that you add onto candles that tend to suffocate the candle wicks. I've also noticed the same with dye chips. So for that reason, I specifically focus on coloring my candles with liquid dye and liquid dye only. You may need to add more liquid dye onto your candles for you to get the exact color that you're looking for. But with that, I also want you to be extra careful because the more things that you add onto your candles, the more your wicks are going to be affected, meaning that your candles will start tunneling and your flames may suffocate so much to the point that your candle just burns out. So to be safe, if you're a beginner, what I recommend is that you skip adding color onto your candles or do a lot of testing when it comes to coloring your candles. So you've made your candles and now you're noticing all types of issues. First is the candle frosting. This is going to be the white layer that you see at the top of your candles after they've been poured and cured. This is 100% natural and it happens a lot with soy wax. The way that you can reduce this issue is by controlling and focusing on the temperature that you pour your candles at and slowly pouring them into the containers. Next are sinkholes. This is self-explanatory. You'll see holes within the candles after you've poured them. You can easily fix this with a second pour, meaning that you pour more wax onto the top of the candle or using a heat gun to melt the top layer so that the melted wax can go inside the sinkhole. Then we have what's called cracked or crumbled tops. This is usually because the candles cool too fast, meaning the temperature of the room that it was in was a little bit cooler than the temperature of the wax. To fix that, you'll need to simply change the temperature in which you're making your candles for it to be a little bit warmer so that you don't have to do extra work. If you do experience that, pour some more wax onto the top or use a heat gun to melt that top layer for an even and flat surface. And then we have what's called wet spots. This is going to be when the wax is shrinking away from the candle jar that you've poured into. It's not going to affect how the candle burns, but if you don't want it to look like that, you can simply heat your candle jars before you pour your candle wax into the jar. But these are some of the common issues that I personally have experienced with candle wax, specifically soy wax. If you have experienced anything else, make sure to let me know in the comments below so that I can guide you into how you can fix them. Overall, I think soy wax is a great option for natural and beautiful candles. It just takes a little bit more practice compared to the other waxes out there. So don't be afraid to experiment and try different things and change one thing at a time, just so that you can focus more on what the issue is at hand. If you have any questions, make sure to drop them in the comments below. And don't forget to grab your candle making suppliers list on my website right now, available to you at serenearomas.com. Stay tuned for part 2 and make sure to drop in the comments below what you specifically need me to focus on for your candle making journey. Until next time, bye.